Yemen is one of the poorest countries on earth. Today the UN reports that 22 million of the country's population of just over 27 million are in need of aid and food support. More than 8 million face starvation. Last year 2,100 people died from cholera, which affects 900,000 across the country. Natural water resources are disappearing, especially in Sana'a, the capital, home to more than 1 million. UN Secretary General António Guterres has described Yemen as the worst humanitarian crisis it faces. It has been compounded by years of war. For the past 4 years a full-blown civil war has drawn in rivals from the region, and killed at least 20,000 civilians. In 2014 Sana'a was seized by militias of Ansar Allah, the partisans of God, known as the Hadiths, from the family leading the movement and its principal sect, the Zaydis, a branch of Shia Islam. Zaydi imams had ruled the north of Yemen for nearly a millennium. Hussein al-Hadi led the push for power, but was killed in an insurgency in 2004. Today his brother Saeed Abdul Malik Hadi is the spiritual guide of the movement. A young refugee pictured in a camp close to Marib city in 2015, the Houthis declared a new regime and constitution, ending a process to unite the tribes in North and South Yemen called the National Dialogue. The elected president, Abdrabbuh Mansur Hadi, fled to Aden where he now resides intermittently. In 2015 both Al-Qaeda and Islamic State were highly active in Yemen. The local Al-Qaeda leader was killed by an American drone strike. In the Civil War, a coalition headed by Saudi Arabia and the UAE backed the forces loyal to ousted President Hadi. Iran and its Lebanese ally on-client Hezbollah backed the Houthis. So the war has dragged on for 4 years. A young girl in one of the refugee camps, Don McCullen, the 16-power coalition is blamed for the sea blockade round Yemen's coast, preventing aid, especially food, getting to the starving population. Last March the World Food Programme warehouse was burned down in the Houthi port of Al Hudaydah. The damage caused by mortars, mines and aerial bombing has made the humanitarian crisis worse. The UN has condemned the outside interference of both Iran and of Saudi Arabia, which has been accused of indiscriminate bombing of Houthi communities. In 2016 100 people were killed and wounded after a funeral was hit in a coalition airstrike. Last month some 20 were reported killed in an air attack which struck a wedding party in the northern province of Sada, home of the Houthi clan. Government militiamen in the mountains above the road to the capital Sana'a. General Nasser al-Daybani, field commander of government offices in the mountains above the road to the capital Sana'a. Sunni refugee with daughter and one of 17 camps in the town of Marib, Yemen. Civilian victims of landmine and booby trap explosions in the prosthesis center in Marib province looking towards Sada and the Houthi mountain strongholds to the north. Saudi Apache helicopter escorting a patrol on the Yemen border. Saudi Apache helicopter escorting a patrol on the Yemen border. A refugee girl in one of the 17 camps round Marib city. Blanket pickup for Sunni refugees from an aid lorry sponsored by Saudi Arabia. Part of their $1 billion aid contribution. Refugee girl in one of the 17 camps round Marib city. Shell-shocked U.S. Marine, Hugh, Vietnam, February 1968. Photographed by Don McCullen. The coalition air forces are accused of using cluster bombs, forbidden by international convention. This has drawn protests in Britain and France, principal suppliers of arms to Saudi Arabia and the UAE. In an unusual twist, the Houthi leadership forged an alliance of convenience with another ousted president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, who was forced out in 2012 after 20 years in power. Having first befriended him, the Houthi leadership had him killed in Sana'a last December. portrait of a war that the world turned its back on. The Zaydis descend from Zayd bin Ali, the grandson of Ali, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, and acknowledged as the fifth Imam. This earns the sect the name 5ers, as opposed to 12ers, who recognize the 12th Imam and descendant of the Prophet Muhammad al-Mahdi as their guide. The Zaydis have been known for tolerance. As they came to power in the wake of the Arab Spring, the Houthis said they supported a civil constitution and toleration, especially to Yemen's Jews, provided they weren't backers of Israel. This makes them strange bedfellows with the Islamic Republic of Iran. But the biggest problem no one seems to be answering is the long-term lack of water. Rampant diphtheria and cholera are signs of a wrecked water supply. Soon, for many millions of Yemenis, there could be no water at all.